Hello and welcome back to the W Basketball Show. Sorry, listeners, it's been 6 months. There's no real explanation, but we are back. We're back, and we're back with Kelly Johnson from the Nine Basketball. Kelly, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. How's dinner?
Dinner was great. Today's my dad's birthday, so we just had a little cookout to celebrate.
Oh, awesome! Happy birthday to your dad. And while we're on the topic, happy birthday to my baby niece who turns 0 today. How good's that? They share a birthday.
Very great. It's a great day for everyone today.
Connected forever. What goes on at the Johnson House birthday cookout?
We had some steaks today because we were talking about going to a steakhouse, but we were like, nah, let's just cook out here. Had some steak, potatoes, corn on the cob, just a little bit of summery foods, and
Mm, yeah.
watching the NHL playoffs as well.
Oh, true. It feels so good to use the word cookout like like legitimately because if we were to say it in Australia, it'd be like, why is that guy using the word cookout? If you didn't hear it, listener, Kelly is from the United States of America. She is currently donning a UNLV jumper for anyone who's not watching as well, which is 0 of you. Um, and she is, yeah, the beat reporter for the Las Vegas Aces for the Nine Basketball. Now, you might have heard me talk about the Nine. You might have heard me reference maybe a story I've been writing for the Nine, but she's been there for, I feel like close to 2 years now.
Hmm.
Yeah. How's your experience been just like covering one of the best, like this most recent iteration of the Las Vegas Aces is one of the best sports teams I have ever seen. What's it like covering them?
It's been such a blessing, honestly. I didn't think, while I was still in college, I would be getting to, have little chats here and there with Asia Wilson and Chelsea Gray and all these big names and watch them have one of the craziest comebacks going from 14 and 14 at the All-Star break to a 16-game win streak and winning the championship. Um, I got to travel for game 3 of the finals down in Phoenix, and that was the game where Asia had that jumper with like leaving them with 1 second left, and the whole it was just amazing to witness in person, and I'm so grateful that I get to do what I love, covering a team that you know the first I believe they're the first team to win a championship in Las Vegas or for Las Vegas. So
They were the first professional sports team in Vegas. Is that true?
I believe so. Yeah, because it was the Aces. I believe No, the Golden Knights were the first team, and then it was the Aces came the year after in 2018.
Okay, cool. Because I did something with another, someone else who grew up in Vegas. Oh yes, we'll touch on that in a sec. But you also grew up in Las Vegas, and when I was talking to him, there was apparently because of all the gambling, you couldn't have a sports team. Was that the case?
Yeah, the whole thing was that there was heavy beliefs that like the players would go to sports books before the games, put down however much money on whether it was their team or the other team, and then purposely try to throw the games.
Hmm.
You don't really, I haven't really seen it happen a lot here, but it's happening in other states and cities too. Like there's been gambling rings busted in New York,
Hmm.
um, where all these like college players for smaller colleges have been caught throwing games. But you haven't really seen it here, surprisingly.
Yeah, I guess maybe because there's such a spotlight on it, or they're good at hiding it. Um, Yeah, so what was it like? What's it like growing up in a place like Vegas where gambling is like such a huge kind of part of the economy and I don't know, I would assume such a normal part of life.
Honestly, it like if you go to another city or whatever and you see a casino, you're like, I'll go check it out. I'm not a big gambler. I just I'll put in like $10 every now and then, and I lose five, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Um, but it's a normal thing. It's not like if I were, let's say, born in California, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to Vegas for the first time. It's a little weird growing up in like a tourist heavy city, especially with all these major events. I'll use Formula One for example, because
Mm.
Formula One started 2023 here in Vegas, and I was like a freshman or a sophomore in college. So the last like 2 years, I've been able to just like go down to the strip where all the pop ups are, and then go home, do homework, go to bed, go to school the next day, and then go do all the pop ups and stuff.
Nice.
So it's like kind of, it just becomes a way of life. Like you're used
Mm.
to, for me, I'm used to, if I go down there, I'm down there pretty often, especially because of the Aces games they play on the strip.
Mm.
Um, so I'm down there pretty often. I do like driving down there, specifically when I'm looking at the lights, not the drivers around me. Um, but it's something you get used to. You get used to going to all these like touristy places just
Mm.
casually.
Are there any local spots? Because our my boss here at the Deep too, he's gonna go down to Vegas for the NBA Summer League. Do you have any like local spots that you would recommend?
Over by UNLV, there's a bunch of smaller fast food places, and Summer League is on the UNLV campus. It's at the Thomas and Mack Center in the Cox Pavilion. Um, there's a taco shop right across the street from Thomas and Mack called Casa de Sabor, and it is a locals paradise. It is one of the best taco shops in the city, in the whole metro area at least. Um, there's also a deli. I think it's called Cugino's, but it's like a little old Italian deli, like something you'd see in New York. Very big campus spot. So right over
Or
there by that UNLV area, there's a lot.
Awesome. He's gonna be so happy when he hears that. I hope you're happy, Sean. Um, but yeah, back to the Aces. Yeah, I guess there was heaps I wanted to talk about, but let's just start with Asia. Like probably should start with Asia. I haven't I don't know too much. Whenever people talk about, the greatest player of all time in a sport, I always find it really hard to have those conversations about players that I haven't seen before. Like, I didn't grow up watching, most of the players who have that kind of handle given to them in any of the sports that I follow, whether that be a basketball league, or like an Aussie sport. But I truly believe that Asia is putting up a, if not like the case for greatest of all time, a case for greatest of all time, and a really, really strong one. What kind of what maybe what do you feel like has become the expectation for her that is like complete and utter excellence if another player does it?
I mean, she's she recently hit 45 points the other night against Connecticut. I think she's the first player to have multiple 45 plus point games. Um, and then the next night in Connecticut, she had a bit of a rough start. She got a few fouls called on her, and she still managed to drop 20. I was talking about this with Howard and Jackie on their podcast, that a rough night for Asia, and she could still put up double digits in points. Um, and she just has such great support around her, not only from Bam, but also from the team themselves and from the fans. The fans are ride or die for Asia, and um, the fact that she's able to balance, putting up all these insane numbers and also do all this marketing as well, going to the Met
Mm,
Gala, the A2 launches. If you're able to balance that, you kind of have a really good case for yourself.
mm,
Um, and she's a player who breaks records left and right. And there's not a whole lot of other players breaking those records, and she could even break her own records as well. So If you're
Yeah.
breaking your own records, it's safe to say you're pretty great.
Was that game three in Phoenix? Was the shot you're talking about? Um, was there like a really like iconic photo of it from like the opposite side baseline, and she's like shooting it over, shooting it on the. It's she's from like the elbow, isn't she?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it, it's
yeah.
it was.
She's had some awesome like plays, but like also like awesome individual frames on photos. I feel like was it she? Yeah, I think was it her blocking Brianna Stewart in the finals a couple years ago. I feel like Stewie had like this tried to put this turnaround up over her, and she just completely stopped it as she was releasing it. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, she's an insane like her. I feel like she was never the strong known as the strongest shooter, and now she's adding this mid range, and now the midi is like one of her strengths. She's always
Mhm.
been an incredible athlete. She's always been just a complete and utter lockdown defender. Um, I covered the basketball World Cup in 2022, which was in Australia, which was awesome. And I had never been to it like an event in person before, so that was like a fully new experience for me. And I was so nervous. I was like shaking every single time that a game had finished, and I was in the tunnel, like trying to grab a player. Um, so yeah, I'd never interviewed a player before, and I got like kind of chummy with the USA basketball media guy. Um, and the first player I ever talked to was Alyssa Thomas, which was like so scary. Like to talk to a player that good and like a player that I'd been watching for so long, and then it's like, oh God, I'm the person that's going to talk to her in 15 seconds. And while she was there, Asia was also waiting for an interview, and the media guy was like, "Hey man, do you want to talk to Asia while she waits for her interview?" And I was like, I don't think I can do that. I've got like one question I'm ready to ask Alyssa Thomas. I don't think I can just like freestyle a conversation with Asia right now. Um, I was lucky enough to talk to her the next day, and I wasn't as scared the next day after I started to get those reps up. But yeah, watching her in person, watching that whole US team play together was like, you know, like such a huge step above the rest of the competition. Um, and yeah, yeah, it's been such a joy to watch her play, and like she's still in her 20s, I think. Is she 29?
I believe so. I think she's turning 30 this year. Let me do my research real quick.
Asia Wilson age. Asia Wilson age. Yeah, she's turning 30 this year. Probably halfway through the year. Um, yeah, but yeah, she's unbelievable. Like a true, like pure one of one sort of player. And I feel like you have another one of those players in Chelsea Gray. Um, were you covering the team when? Yeah, you would have been covering the team when Kelsey Plum left, right?
I think it was the year. It was right when that trade happened. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was when I
How
started.
was that? How was that for the like? How did the team receive that? And then like, how did the team kind of adjust to that? Did you find?
At first, it was pretty rough. I mean, she was such a big player in the 2022 and 2023 championship teams. I really started following them in 2022 back when I was in high school because I was also in our high school's marching band and in UNLV's marching band. So 2022 they had Kids Day, which was like right before our school got out, and they had our band perform at halftime. So that was when I really started following because I was like, oh, this game is so fun. This game is so fun. And Kelsey Plum was one of my favorite players. And then seeing that whole trade, it definitely threw me off. I wasn't expecting it. But with Jewel Lloyd coming in, um, I know she said after they won the championship that, she basically got exiled and then she made her way to the promised land, or she was welcomed into the promised land. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, she has been such a critical player from the bench, and that selflessness that she has, um, allowing the team to adjust rather than like kind of throwing herself in and wanting to be in the starting five, wanting to, kind of take control, but allowing others to do it to take control. I feel like I'm wording that wrong, but
No,
um,
I get the point.
it did take some time to get used to, but over time it worked. It definitely worked out in their favor. After that fateful Minnesota game, they made the turnaround, and she was putting up double digits from the bench.
Mm. Yeah, I actually think what she has done, and what Becky and the role Becky's played in that as well. I've never really I've always wondered why more like great players who are kind of surplus to requirement in the starting lineup don't make that move to the bench because like basketball has gone so far beyond the point of this thinking that the five starters are the five best players on the team. Like there are so many teams that have like these incredible um let's say they have an incredible backcourt and they draft this like wonder kid and that player comes off the bench. You could very easily have your three best players be guards, but just because of like the
Hold on, my dad's bugging.
no
Sorry.
worries.
I had to be informed that Montreal beat Buffalo in the NHL playoffs.
The NBA moves so quickly these days, it's hard to keep up. Shams and Woj are breaking stories left and right, but the Quick Time Out is right there with them to keep you informed on the latest NBA news. Stop in and let us break it down as it happens. Find the Quick Time Out on the Deep 2 Podcast Network.
Yeah, so just on Jewel Lloyd's move to the bench. I as an Australian you might make the assumption that I'm a Seattle Storm fan. That assumption would be correct. Watching the way that the Storm kind of exited that Stewie Bird Lloyd era was like the most painful thing I have ever seen. Like if you lose players of that caliber, one to retirement and then Stewie left in free agency, you rebuild. You have to rebuild. You get no assets in return for those two players going out. And you had this great core and you had this great run, and Jewel Lloyd hadn't started to have that kind of decline in her performance. And the only reason she really had that in terms of efficiency with Seattle is because she had so much of the burden. Like she was forced to create so much, and she did. She produced, on pretty high volume, but she still found a way to produce. I think she might have even led the league in scoring that first year with Seattle. And then, yeah, I think when she was going to Vegas in that trade, there was kind of this understanding that that Vegas were like really losing out on that in that trade, like, catastrophically, parting ways with Plum, who's part of a championship core, and bringing in this player who seemed like her past was behind her. But yeah, she comes into this Vegas team where everyone's playing their role. Everyone is like, yeah, as you said, so selfless. And that move to the bench is also like such a signal of selflessness, as if the Aces need another symbol to say like, we are team first. Jewel Lloyd provided one, and then yeah, the trickle-on effect of that is huge. But yeah, I have no clue why more stars don't do that because yeah, sure, you might average 4 less points a night or 6 less points a night, but you'll win a championship. Like you'll get to the end of the season and you'll be one of the teams remaining. Um, and yeah, I mean, like also one of just the most aesthetically pleasing scorers to watch play, Jewel Lloyd. Like she's just so measured and calm and cool, and the way she releases the ball is like picturesque. And it sucks to see her doing it so well in another jersey. But I think the Storm have done this to themselves, and I feel absolutely no like I don't feel bad about saying that about them. But yeah, Chelsea, great. There's another player. You still do have her. She is to me one of one as well. Her like court vision, her ability to pass, the way she sees the game is incredible. It's like no one else. Like she can break the game open. What's it like to cover her?
Honestly, if you're talking about point guards, you can't have like a best point guard in the league conversation without including Chelsea Gray. And just being able to watch, these behind the back passes, these no look passes, talking about looking at the Atlanta game, that last shot and that last steal. She is such a clutch player. She's such a clutch player that if it's like a last second shot, her Asia or Jackie are like the three people you want to give the ball to because she
Mm,
could set up the play immediately, whether if it's a pass or a shot that she takes, and it'll go in.
mm,
And it has been such a blessing getting to see those because when I write my features, I usually open it up with like a scene from a game.
mm,
Um, I'll use like with my Kennedy Carter piece, I opened up how like her first 2 minutes she was so heavy on like rebounding and defensiveness and stuff like that. And I used a scene from their preseason game against Japan. So Chelsea Gray is also great at creating those scene setters just with a simple no look pass with a no look lob. She's her passing game is just insane to watch and it's so surreal.
mm. Yeah, those hitter heads especially, um, like when you think there's no possibility of a transition, she just turns it into a transition, and she knows exactly when to do it as well. Like the Aces will maybe have scored two baskets in a row and gotten two stops in a row, and then Gray's like, okay, if I can just break their defense open, then they're going to have to call a timeout, and then we get the advantage of that as well. Um, yeah, I think if any like above average or good point guard in Becky Hammond's system would be, a blessing and would be able to make incredible plays. But then to get a player like Chelsea Gray, who is like, yeah, sees the court and sees the game in a completely different way, is just such a godsend. Um, yeah, this far out, man. This Aces team is unbelievable. That Atlanta Dream game. So the as we're currently sitting, the Aces are top of the standings. Um, it's not always looked, convincing, but you're top of the standings, or they're top of the standings, 4-1. That Atlanta win is awesome. Like Atlanta last year, they finished with the second best record, equal with the Aces. I feel like there was a bit of like they had an easy run and they had good health last year, but like whatever, they had the second best record in the league. Like let's just other teams were also faced with that sort of stuff and they didn't have as good a season as the Dream. But I think what was evident in that Aces game and what's been evident in the Dream's early season is they've learned how to win now, and at the end of a game they know how to win. And what was it, a 20-2 run in the last quarter or something from Atlanta? Like
Mm-hmm.
not against not against my Seattle Storm, but against the Las Vegas Aces. So yeah, I think that was a really awesome win. And so the Aces are 4-1. And I think the thing that I'm most interested in this early season and what you're seeing is from game four of the finals last year to these first five games of this season, you've effectively added three players to the rotation. And that's not including Steph Talbot, who I kind of see as more of like a plug and play substitute for like those Alicia Clark types. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Cheyenne Parker-Tyus played, I think, 8 games last year in regular season and playoffs. Brianna Turner's new into the fold, and Kennedy Carter's new into the fold. Um, in integrating all those players, yeah, the Aces are still finding ways to win. How have you seen the team's dynamic sort of shift from last season to this season? And yeah, in integrating those players.
Honestly, it seems this year there's more chemistry right off the bat. Um like excluding that home opener against Phoenix, I know the focus was defense and the defense wasn't there. They weren't expecting Nogic to drop 29 points. But you have one bad game and I knew something about that team was different and she was the difference maker.
Bro, Jovana Nogic, shout out. She is one of the kindest players I have ever spoken to. Um, I was covering the Eurobasket in 2023, which was awesome in Slovenia, and I think I interviewed her 4 times, and the last time she came up to me and like she started the conversation, and I was like, I was so shocked. It felt so good. It was like I was so at ease. But the first few times. Yeah, the first few times it was me going up to her, but then by the end of it, yeah, she was just super, super kind. Um, but she was like, she asked me if I was Australian, and I was like, I thought it was really obvious that I was, so I was like, nah. And then she was like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, sorry, I am Australian. But yeah, sorry, you're talking about her putting up her own goat case against you guys.
Yeah, no, I've had a similar story with that with the barista at this one coffee shop, but that's a whole nother story. Um, but Nogic dropping 29 points, it seemed like everyone was so focused on, Kalia Copper, Joanna Bonner, Alyssa Thomas. Everyone was so focused on them thinking that you know, they were gonna attempt to drop 30 points, and every player is gonna try to, but they didn't realize that Nogic was a hooper. They didn't realize that, and they learned from their mistake, and then immediately they're on a 4-game win streak, which has been insane. That Atlanta game, once again, that Atlanta game was insane. Atlanta is going to be a contender this year.
Mm.
Adding Angel Reese to their lineup was such a smart move. Um, having a good rebounder is something that a lot of teams, it feels like a lot of teams overlook. And
Mm.
I feel like with Chicago's a whole nother basket case, but um, once again, Angel Reese going to Atlanta, that was a very smart move on Atlanta, and they just they just lost to a clutch Chelsea Gray shot.
Mm.
But with the additions of Brianna Turner has been great so far defensively, which is exactly what Becky Hammond wanted. In her media day interview, I know she said that Becky, when signing her, said, "Don't change your game, just keep doing what you're doing." Um, like we know why we signed you, because you're already great at what you do. And um, Kennedy Carter, I that's one of the biggest stories coming out of the Aces was her signing. And looking at her points and stuff in China and in Mexico, I don't think a lot of people really looked at that because she was putting up, she had a couple 40-50 point games, winning, import player of the year, guard of the year, newcomer of the year, all these different awards. Of course, she's not going to slow down once she comes back to the W, and putting up almost a 30-piece game. Everyone in Vegas is really excited that she's here. Everyone's very happy that she's here, and I think the chemistry that she's having with all the leaders, Jackie, Asia, and Chelsea, um, under their leadership, I think all of these players are going to thrive because they are all about pouring into others and wanting to see them succeed as well as the team. But they want to see everyone else succeed. Um, if they succeed, yay, good for us. But they're very supportive of each other. It's honestly a great like sisterhood to see. Like talking with
Mm.
Asia at practice, when I talked to her about Kennedy, like what are you seeing from her? She was saying, we want to see her, keep playing as hard as she can. We want to pour into her. We want to see her thrive and everything.
Yeah, I think she kind of comes with an underdog mentality wherever she goes. If that's to the reigning champions or if that's to the like bottom team in the league, she brings that with her, and that's sometimes that like seeps throughout the rest of the team. And this Aces team is like the epitome of professionalism, and their abilities are incredible individually and as a unit. But to add that sort of dynamic to the fold, that is gonna and like you know, I'm not tipping that she keeps up the production, but I am tipping that she will continue to be like a very reliable contributor off the bench. Um, yeah, like that's that's going to bode so well for the team to just be able to have that option to throw her in there. Um, and yeah, I really like what you said about Brianna Turner because it's stark contrast to what she did in the WNBL last year because the Perth Lynx they signed her um, as kind of a pre replacement for Han Shu, who eventually came over after the first 8 games of the season. Now, as you know, Kelly, Han Shu and Brianna Turner, two very different people and two very different basketball players. And Perth effectively asked Brianna Turner to play the Han Shu role before Han Shu came over. Um, and Turner did such a good job. I think she led the league in blocks before she because in the WNBL you have import limits. So she led the league in blocks before she couldn't play anymore. But yeah, like yeah, completely different play style, and she just accepted the role and just she did what she does in a completely different role. So it's awesome to know that that's what Hammond wants from her. I think she does also provide that variability as a big, as kind of a. She probably plays the four more in the WNBA with some time at the five, but in the WNBL she's usually a five. But yeah, and like a great playmaker from the top of the key, great as with dribble handoffs and yeah, just playmaking for others. Um, uh, the other player I want to ask you about is Kirsten Bell because she's finally seeming to crack into the rotation. She was in the WNBL a few years ago. She was pretty awesome in the WNBL, but yeah, it's been interesting because she is one of the longest standing aces. But she's never really been the biggest part of the rotation. What's she like at practice and like what's she like as a teammate?
From what I've seen, she's like a glue player. She's like the
Hmm.
glue guy on the team. I know I make a lot of like hockey references. I also work in hockey, but
Yeah.
like on each hockey team, you have a player who they may not get the most ice time or anything, but like no matter what, even if they're on the bench, like they're always there supporting the team and they're always there providing that morale. And that's kind of what Kirsten Bell is like. She is the glue player. She is always supporting the team and you know whether she gets the whole game or no playing time, like she will always be there. She always shows up. Um and she's a really good 3-point shooter. Um there was one game that I covered. I believe it might have been against Seattle or it was right before the playoffs started where she just kept hitting three after three after three and I think she had like 18 to 20 points that game and you know, she it shows that she can play, she can hoop, she can shoot. Um I just think with all the star power, it can get overwhelming. I mean, the
Mm.
addition of Jewel Lloyd, Brandon Turner, now Kennedy Carter, it can get a little like overwhelming, but no matter what, she's very consistent, no matter what role she's playing. And I think that's something that Hammond really likes. It's something that a
Mm.
lot of the fans really like. Um, anytime she gets playing time, she could go out there even for a minute, hit a three, and she could call it a day, and everyone will still be happy that she got out there. I know there's a player in college basketball who for a team that I follow that was like that. He would just go out there for a minute, hit a three, and fans love him. So she's a very critical role by providing not only the support but also like being ready whenever, and she can set a screen whenever. I know there was the video of her like kind of like rolling on the court that blew up last year.
Oh
If
yeah, I think I know the one.
yeah, and Alyssa Smith. Oh, just how Coach drew it up. That just goes to show she's ready for whatever.
Yeah, those plays are so valuable. Like not only driving the plays that drive standards at the top of the rotation, but the plays that drive standards at the bottom and in the middle of the rotation, just to like have that expectation. Um, which yeah, the Aces keep raising that bar every season. Um, and yeah, Steph Talbot. So she has had experience playing with Brianna Turner. I think they played 2 seasons together in the WNBL. She's definitely played against Jackie Young when Jackie Young came over. Um, Am I missing someone here? I usually am. So hopefully, to the player I'm missing, I'm sorry. But yeah, Steph Talbot. How have you seen her first few games with the Aces? Because this, I'll tell from the Australian perspective first. There is this is the sort of situation that she is in when she plays with the Opals, when she plays with, a scoring big and a few creators from the backcourt. And she just kind of slots in as that three or four. I know that Becky loves leaning on like 3 point guards and then a 2-3 that she plays in the four and then Asia. And then it's kind of like, okay, you guys have to go out there and figure it out. And they always end up figuring it out. But Steph Talbot to me, yeah, I think I mentioned Alicia Clark before, if not while we were recording then before. Yeah, how do you feel like she kind of fits into the Aces system more broadly? Because it's not always going to show up on the stat sheet.
Well, with this season's very Becky really wanted to focus on defense because with I think it was her who said it or someone in media day. They said, with with great defense, offense will come along the way. So signing her, she's been really good on the defensive end. She's been really good at setting screens. She's been really good at, kind of throwing herself into the fire and, coming out perfectly fine. And even on offense, she's been really good at, helping set up those plays that allow for these 3 pointers, allow for these mid-range jumpers. And even if she's not scoring, she's doing all these like little things that, that impress everyone, whether it's a screen or whether it's, just putting pressure on a player.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like the what she provides for the Opals as well. So it's awesome to see it happen with the Las Vegas Aces. Um, Winding back the clock to last year. Yes, last year. Yeah. I feel like we were really robbed of a Vegas and Minnesota final series through all of the madness. I think I don't even know if we got one Vegas mini series. Oh no, did we get one before the mini? Maybe we got one before the mini New York um, WNBA finals in 2024. Um, but last year it really felt like the Lynx were healthy and like roaring to go. The Aces were healthy and roaring to go, and it was their time to finally meet in the finals. Were you anticipating that matchup?
I was, because after the first game that they played here against Minnesota, which was the 53-point loss, um,
Mm.
like that after that game, I was like, oh, if we go into the finals against them, like I'm a little scared. But then after during their 16 game run, they played them at one of the bigger arenas on the strip at T-Mobile Arena, and I think that game sold out,
Mm.
and it was without there wasn't really any like struggles. It felt like a very close game, and it felt like the Aces at some point picked up steam and the train just started moving, and it was just really good basketball. I know I went on a podcast with Terry Horseman from the Nine as well,
Mm.
and we talked about that game, and it was so nice to sit back in my seat, watch the game, and just watch pure good basketball. I
Mm.
mean, after that game, I was so looking forward to a playoff series between the two. Um, a little disappointed that it didn't happen, but yet again, that matchup against Phoenix was really phenomenal as well. I mean,
Mm.
the game three, it came down to the wire.
Mm. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I couldn't be in there for game four, but
Mm. I just looked it up. There was no the Aces and the Lynx haven't met in the postseason going back to 2022. So yeah, that was the Mini were always kind of my I don't know. There were definitely a good couple of years in there where I liked watching the Lynx more than I liked watching the Storm. Um, And I wasn't hiding that. I just loved watching the way they played together. I feel like Nafisa Collier, like my God, I would say she has the best like footwork in the league. And
Mhm.
her ability to create in the mid range and in the low post is like classic, like real old school. And yeah, she was kind of overlooked, I feel, for when compared to like Asia and Alyssa Thomas, and even a couple of years ago when Satu Sabli was at Dallas and she was cooking in Dallas. Um, yeah, I feel like Nafisa was kind of probably overlooked a little more, but she just kept being the leader on a great team. And sure, she might have had a good team around her, but she was really the nucleus of that team. And the same can be said about Asia Wilson. Um, but yeah, she was always a joy to watch. And then yeah, watching Alana Smith go to that team was awesome because she kind of came to her own before she made the move to Mini, and then it was kind of like, oh, is she going to keep it up in Minnesota? And then yeah, she was like a really relied upon piece of that front court and defensively. So yeah, I was really hoping for a Mini Aces uh, any round of the postseason series. Um, yeah, that Phoenix finals series last year, I just remember it being hectic. I remember Phoenix's postseason run being like so controversial. Like every single whistle was like controversial in their whole postseason. And then you ended up sweeping them, didn't you, in the finals?
Yep. It was a
Nice.
4-0 sweep.
Yeah. Which seemed like a kind of a random way for that season to finish. But I do remember I do feel like the finals were all pretty close games. Um, Maybe looking at this season, do you feel like the Aces are in the driver's seat to win it all again?
Yeah, I think so. They're very they figured out immediately like what wasn't working, and they've made it work for the last 4 games. Um I do think it's going to be really close. I do think there are a lot more contenders this year. Um with Atlanta being like right next to the driver's seat.
Hmm.
Atlanta's in the passenger seat at this point with
Yep.
how well they've developed their team. I do think Dallas could be a playoff team this season as well. Um,
Hmm.
Watching that first game against Indiana while I was getting set up at the Aces home opener, um, it just seemed their chemistry got so much better. The coaching got so much better as well. You had someone who I don't want to not to dunk on the old coach, but he's this new coach. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to draw up plays that don't
Mm.
confuse the player. Um, Insert that infamous page picture of her, like, um, but like drafting Az, getting Alana Smith, getting Jessica Shepard, getting all these really good players in the offseason. Dallas may have won the offseason with that as well.
Mm.
Um, I think Dallas could be a really good playoff team. I think they could. They're at least going to make it to like the second round, depending on who they play.
Oh, true. I don't mind that. Yeah, they're going to be a really fun team to follow for years to come as well. Um, with the new CBA, it's really interesting to see how everyone's books look for for the next 3 years because while Beckers and Fudd are on rookie deals, it's the time to spend. And if they can, because I actually thought it'd probably take them another year to kind of gel and make that postseason run. Uh, but yeah, it's really balanced. Um, they've got a good blend of guards, wings, and front court players. Which yeah, I think just like as a basketball fan, it's a lot easier to see the vision. Whereas, I mean, yeah, with the Aces, sometimes it's like there's no like going back to when Kelsey Plum was there. I remember like every single game, it'd be young. um, plum gray. And then I remember even against the Connecticut Sun in the finals, however many years ago that was, I remember Raquana Williams was also out there and Asia. And it was like, there's just no way this is going to work. And sure enough, Raquana Williams had like what 18 points in a closeout finals game. And it worked. And like Becky obviously like saw something that no one else did, which she seems to keep on doing. Um, what about, I heard you didn't say the New York Liberty. Do you feel like maybe they've taken a step back, or is that, or are they also part of that conversation?
I do think New York. I gotta look at their record right now, but
They're right on the Aces' heels in second. They're
okay, yeah,
three and
but
one.
then New York's up there. New York's up there. I don't. New York is one of those teams that like I don't see them ever really going out of the playoffs. Maybe in like 10 years they might, but
Mm,
they're gonna be pretty. They're gonna stay in the playoffs for a good long time.
mm,
And um, who else? I do think Washington. Washington has a really good young core. Um, I feel like they once they get their confidence, like kind of get their confidence settled, and they realize like, yeah, I'm this player. I'm Sonia Citron. I'm Lauren Betts. I'm this player. I've done all these accomplishments. We can actually click together and make this work. They could potentially make the first round of the playoffs. I don't know
mm,
how far they would go, but I mean they're currently sitting at eighth.
mm.
Um, Golden State too. Golden State. A lot of people are mad that they waived Kate Martin, which understandable. Kate Martin became a fan favorite. Um, but they made some pretty good moves. They're currently sitting fifth. Chicago's
Mm.
sitting third, which not something I thought I was gonna see.
Let's see how long that lasts.
Aside from Vegas sports, I grew up an all Chicago sports fan. Hockey,
Ah,
baseball,
true.
football. Didn't really pay attention to the NBA. Because they weren't. I don't know. We were just never an NBA household, but
Mm.
Chicago sports are notorious for not being good. So, um, seeing Chicago in third right now actually puts a smile on my face that
Nice.
at least one team is on the come up.
Yeah. All those, barring Chicago, you added two at the end there. Chicago, no, just Chicago. All those other teams have Aussies in them, so maybe that's the secret formula. You got to get an Aussie on in the rotation. I
I like
think
that thinking.
I think picking up Rikeya Jackson through all that mess is going to end up paying dividends for Chicago. I can't remember what the deal was to get her over exactly, but man, her game is unbelievable. I really see her as like a future MVP, or at least a future MVP candidate, and like a multiple time All WNBA team selection sort of player. Um, I also think that similar about Ryan Howard, because she was really tracking to be like, yeah, a huge numbers player, and then not this most previous offseason, but the offseason before, Atlanta just like, man, they went on this like absolute tear of bringing in whoever they brought in. They brought in like Jordan Canada, Breonna Jones, Brittany Griner, and potentially Alicia Gray as well, or she might have been there from the season before. But yeah, watching Howard's game mature last season, and like she's still just as good as she was. It's just like it doesn't turn into production, or it doesn't, it doesn't look good on the box score every night. But she's still like, I mean, she's probably even better at defending now because she has so much more to pour into that side of the game. Um, but yeah, also watching Isabel Borles in that guard rotation, it's like that is she is such a rhythm player, and she's not like an impact player. She's more of like give her 12 minutes a night to kind of ease into a game and set up the offense. So seeing the way she works into that rotation, I don't think that's going to be something that happens this year. But I mean, to get that experience in practice every day against, the backcourt in Atlanta is going to be awesome. Um, But yeah, I like some of those picks you had. Washington with like Georgia Amor. I think, as you said, like players that need to settle into themselves. I think she's probably the biggest one of that. I mean, she is
Mhm.
effectively a rookie this year, and you know, a rookie point guard running a pretty young offense. But yeah, I think once she settles into the WNBA, that'll probably be the biggest step up for the team as a whole because they showed great spurts last season with Brittany Sykes, and Sonia Citron and Keke Iriafen. Like they were just like, I thought they would take, you know, until year two to come on, but my God, they like just straight away last year just hit the ground running.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Um, yeah, Kelly, is there anything? Do you have any crazy takes for this season? Is there something that you were like you want to get on the record that you haven't had the chance to get on the record anywhere yet?
Ooh, okay. This isn't more about like players or teams, and this is just in general. Um, every time a player has a bad night, I've been seeing all these people come up with like think pieces as to why they're having a bad night. I'll use Jackie Young for example. Against Atlanta yesterday, she didn't score. She went 0 for 12 in field goals, but she still played a really good defensive game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Um, and all these people are like in Instagram comment sections are the worst. But all these people are in these comment sections being like, she's the worst player on the team, blah 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 blah. And it's like, tell me you haven't watched basketball for a very long time without telling me you haven't watched basketball for a long time. Um, so my very hot, scorching take for this season is keep your think pieces to yourself because you're gonna get a lot of backlash for making a take and overthinking into something. I think someone even said that Kennedy Carter looked like irritated during the press conference. And I'm doing stuff with my family. I didn't have a chance to hop on yesterday because we're running around and everything. But even Kennedy Carter was like, "Dude, it's not that deep. Chill out."
Yeah,
So keep your
I,
pieces to yourself. Players can see that.
I like that. Or maybe like bookmark your think pieces. Um,
Exactly. Put it in your notes app, not on Instagram. Keep it to
yeah,
yourself.
I like that. I feel like with the I don't know if you found this, but I found the interest and the appetite for the WNBA this season has been like something I've never seen before. Like I got mates that have kind of had their eye on the league, that like have been so interested in it this season, and like are like constantly messaging me anytime anything happens. Um, and so maybe something that comes with that territory is that we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that. And like there are going to be some teething issues in this first season of the CBA. But hopefully that won't be the long-term trend. And hopefully we'll those people who will be able to dunk on them a little bit and kind of iron them out moving forward.
Yeah, I see it in all sports. Like a player could have, a rough night but still put up, pretty decent numbers and the immediate response is, "Wow, they're the worst player in the league." Where did that come from?
Awesome. Kelly,
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking the time to jump on today, slash tonight. Um, yeah, much appreciated. Love your work over at the Nine. Love the stream. I actually love the stream of consciousnesses that happen in the Nine, the big chat whenever anyone's team is playing, and it'll be like 2 hours of the beat reporter, right, like doing a blow by blow of the game, then like half an hour of absolutely nothing because you're doing like the post game interviews and stuff, and
Yeah.
then everyone else jumps in post game and is like asking questions frantically, and it's like, where did that person go? Where did that person go? So love that. Love your coverage.
Thank
And
you.
yeah,
Thank
good luck with
you.
the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. Same with you.
Cheers.